Let me start with the bad news. Life is unfair. Some people are born with far more talent than others. Some people are born into rich families with wide networks of connections, and others are not. And in life, you have no choice about your genes, no choice about your inherent talents, no choice about the family you are born into. In life, you have to play the hand of cards that you are dealt. There is only one thing that you can control, and that is the choices that you make. The big choices, such as what you study, what career you follow, who you get married to, but also you make hundreds of choices every day. And all of those choices matter for your success. And that's a message I regularly give when I speak at schools, normally to 100 or 200 children at a time. And when I'm speaking to the children, I deliberately do not give them examples of good choices because I want them to focus on the key message about the importance of choices. But you are adults, mostly professionals, and I will share some concrete advice about choices. And this advice is based upon my own life. There are many other very successful people who might give you different advice. I can't speak for them, I can only speak for the person I know best, which is myself. And I will limit myself to 10 points. Number 1, make your English perfect. Many of you, like Abbas, will have come here as adults. Many of you are highly educated senior doctors. However, to succeed at the very highest levels in this country, your English needs to be perfect. And good enough is not good enough. My advice is to listen to BBC Radio 4 regularly, practice speaking like that, and test yourself by recording yourself speaking. And read very high quality fiction such as Tolstoy or Charles Dickens, which again will dramatically improve your understanding of the flow of the language, the grammar. Number 2, you can never have too many professional qualifications. A client finds it very hard to tell a good tax advisor from a bad tax advisor. But they can tell very easily if you have the highest quality qualifications or lower quality qualifications. For example, if you are an accountant, it really matters from the client's perspective whether you are a chartered accountant or a certified accountant. And I know it's politically incorrect to say that, but it is true. Number 3, write published articles and give talks. Whatever your professional field, there are opportunities to write and speak. I became known as one of the country's leading experts in the taxation of treasury transactions because of my writing and speaking. If you do not write and speak, fewer people know who you are. Number 4, network as widely as you can. Push yourself to get to know the most important people in your profession. It's not easy going to events full of strangers where you know nobody. You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. And I still need to do this personally when I join new organizations and find I'm somewhere where I just don't know anybody in the room. But you have to push yourself out of that comfort zone and network. Number 5, become knowledgeable outside your field. If you spend time talking to very senior people, you will find that they know a great deal outside their own discipline. They may be an expert on heart surgery, but they will know about classical music. That's even more important when you come from an ethnic minority, because people start with different expectations of who you are. You need to know more about the UK's history and culture than your fellow white professionals. There are 2 specific magazines I recommend subscribing to if you're serious about trying to achieve this. The first of those is the Economist weekly newspaper, and the second one, which you may not have heard of, is the New York Review of Books, which is the most intellectual magazine that I know. It comes out every 2 weeks, and reading it you will learn about so many things and so many areas that you never even knew existed. Number 6 is a very controversial piece of advice. Decide what your name is. It may seem like very strange advice. How many of you know a person whose full name is Alexander Boris de Pfeffel Johnson? The world, of course, knows him as Boris Johnson. And that's how he wants to be known. I come across many Muslims who have complex names. I'm the exact opposite. I was born in a village. My mother gave me a single name, Mohammed Amin. It got divided into two when I came to this country. And for the first 10 years at primary school, it was actually divided the wrong way around. And then it was changed when I went to secondary school. But these Muslims who have complex names sometimes try using their whole name. Sometimes they keep changing which parts of their name they want to use with people. And that makes them seem alien, it makes them seem shifty, slippery, unreliable, even to me. And I'm a Muslim from a Pakistani background. So just think about the impact that has on other people. So decide what you want to be called and stick to it consistently. It really will help. Number 7 is a question. What do you want to be famous for? And this is a question which Price Waterhouse asked every one of its partners to think about in the early 1990s as part of our internal partner development. And it forces you to think and decide what you really want to be professionally and to aim high. For example, I decided that I wanted to be known as one of the most expert people in the UK on the taxation of treasury transactions. And then I set about trying to achieve that. But unless you have a clear, ambitious goal, you cannot achieve success. Number 8, think about your personal brand. I had never thought about the concept of a personal brand until 20 years ago. I attended a lecture in Manchester given by the American management consultant Tom Peters. And one of his key points was to think about yourself as a brand. Companies like Microsoft, Coca-Cola, BMW, they want to create a perception inside your head when you think about that company. You know what to expect. If you think BMW, you don't think cheap, tinny cars. You think high quality, good to drive cars and expensive ones. And the same applies to professionals. And I decided that clients were never going to think of me as a nice chap to go to the pub with. Not just because I don't drink, but just because I'm not actually a very sociable person. And instead, I consciously set out to build the image of a tax guru. That's how I conducted myself in meetings, that's how I presented myself, that's how I have all these letters after my name. And I wanted to be seen as an expert that you go to because he's the best there is. That was achievable. Being a best mate was never achievable for me. It fitted, what I chose fitted my personality far better. So think about your own brand positioning. It doesn't have to be the same as mine, but think about your own brand positioning and exactly what you want it to mean. And also, much more trivially, get the basics right. I'm appalled by the number of people I come across on LinkedIn who don't have a photograph at all or who have a very poor quality photograph. Any decent professional should have a really high quality photograph that they use for all publicity purposes all the time. Number 9, get soft skills training. Just like you can never have too many qualifications, you can never have too much training. And by soft skills training, I mean training outside your subject matter expertise. I'm an accountant, I'm a tax expert. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about training on how to manage people, how to do public speaking, how to make presentations. And we all need that, regardless of whether your field is tax advice or surgery. I've been doing presentations since I was 30 years old. I still take every opportunity I get for extra training in public speaking, presentations, media training, writing skills. Right now, I'm halfway through a 4-course thing organised by the London branch of the Chartered Institute of Tax on public speaking. Even though I've been doing public speaking for years, because you always learn something. Many of you may be in organisations that will provide such training or pay for it. And if you are, take every opportunity you get. If you're not, if you have to pay for it yourself, do so. And my 10th and final piece of advice is to read self-improvement books. I was 16 when I read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It was the very first self-improvement book I ever read. I still think about some of the things I learned in that. I've read it one more time after that, and most of it just sort of sticks in the head. And in the years since then, I must have read over 100 self-improvement books, and each one did its own little bit to make me better. Finally, remember that a career is not a sprint, it's a marathon over a lifetime. And success will come from the hundreds of small decisions you make every day. And success comes from knowing what you want to achieve, and success comes from pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. Thank you.